Hey there, it's your girl, ShawnLaRe. How y'all doing out there today? Well, y'all, it looks like we made it. We are on the other side of 2020. Now, I know it may feel like we barely made it, but sometimes we have to just take barely and stretch it out into our abundance. Have you ever stood back looking at some insurmountable task, decision, setback? And after long contemplation, you became certain it was impossible to tackle it, to decide on it, or to recover from it. At that time, what did you do? Take a moment and just write down that thing. You don't have to write a whole story, but just what is the thing that you did? Did you freeze in fear? Did you give in to the voices in your head that said, you cannot, you should not, you will not? Why bother? Did you decide that your dream was not possible? Did you put it in the pile, that pile that's marked things I'd like to do if I wasn't afraid, if it wasn't so hard, if I was smart enough, thin enough, if I had more money, had more time? You know, that pile, whatever your impossible is. Well, I want to ask you, what if, what if the truth is possible is a choice? So today we're going to talk about how to make that decision in the midst of the fear. So this is what we're going to try to discover. We're going to discover how to turn your fear into your superpower, how to exercise the power of choice, and how to turn up the volume on the power of possible. You remember when we were young, how fearless we were, not afraid of anything. Think about back those times when you were a kid and you would jump off of anything. It didn't matter how high, we would try to get over it. No matter how wide, we try to get around it. No matter how deep, we try to step out in it. So now when we're older, what happened to that fearless spirit? You know, the Bible says in 2 Timothy 1:17, for God has not given me a spirit of fear, but a spirit of love and of power and of sound mind, to live each day and glorify his name. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm a God girl, so I take those words quite seriously. But even knowing what the Bible says and believing those words, we can sometimes be fearful. Can you think of a time when you were fearful and really wanted to follow your dream, but you were stopped dead in your tracks because of fear? Maybe it wasn't that clear for you. Maybe you were not even aware of the fear that was stealing your mojo and keeping you stuck. Maybe in a job that was going nowhere. Maybe in a relationship that had run its course. You see, that kind of fear is subtle and we can excuse it away. That job, well, see, I need to pay my bills, so I can't strike out on my own. Or I don't have time. I have a family to support. Or that relationship. Well, he loves me. That's why he's so jealous. He's had a hard time. That's why he's always angry. He doesn't have anyone else. Let me translate for you. I am afraid. Now, what we are afraid of varies, but it really doesn't matter, because no matter the why, the result of the fear is always the same. Mediocrity, unfulfillment, and a life of what if. So today, I invite you, let's turn that fear into your superpower. Now start by writing a list of what you would do if fear was not a factor. Write a list of all the people that could be helped if you just moved out on faith. So right now, I want you to take your paper out and a pen, and don't use a pencil either, because you do not want the ability to erase the thought to even be an option. See, the first thing you write down unedited is the truth. This is your search now for the ideas, and the ideas do not need to be fetched out just yet. You see, the seed just needs to be planted right now, because we are going to move past the fear. But first, you need an assignment. You see, you don't even need at this juncture to be certain of what that assignment is. God's in charge of that, and he will shape it for you. But you need to make the first move. So write it down. Just take a minute, write it down. Doesn't have to be a story, just write it down. So now let's turn that fear into our superpower right now. So I want you to do this with me right there wherever you are. We're going to calm down your circuits. You see, sometimes that fear can be firing, boom, boom, boom. And it makes it difficult to focus on anything else but the fear. And that keeps you stuck. You can't move, right? So let's try this. It's a simple breathing exercise for soothing your circuit. So follow these steps and you'll be ready to consciously overcome your fear in the moment in no time at all. So here's what we're going to do. First, get comfortable in your chair. If your feet are on the ground, plant them firmly. Now, just remember, when you start to feel anxiety or fear, I want you to just stop what you're doing and observe the emotion. Don't fight it. You know, because sometimes we're already fearful and that's causing us to be anxious, and we get worried about it and we start to try to fight the fear, and then we're all in a tizzy. So I just want you to observe that emotion of fear right now. Just feel it. And now I want you to take 6 long, slow, very deep breaths. Let's go right now. In through the nose, expand your belly. Here we go. 1. Keep doing it. 2. Now keep counting for yourself. Feel the stress leave your body. Now imagine that you're inhaling calm and you're exhaling little tiny particles and molecules of fear. Now get in your 6th breath. You feel different, don't you? You see, 6 breaths is sort of a magic number for calming down your mojo when you're in an excited state. And if you're still feeling anxious and still a little overexcited in a way that it's not being powerful but detracting from your power, keep breathing. And then once you've calmed down, once you feel your spirit smooth out a little bit, smile. You'd be amazed. When you smile, you flip off the fear like it's a light switch. And with a little bit of practice, you will become a master at switching off any negative emotion when they are not serving you. All right. So now you've just turned your fear into your superpower. Now, before you do anything new that might cause you to feel some angst, just try this. And keep in mind, if you're not just even a little bit afraid, it's not challenging you enough to make it worth your while. I'm afraid at the same time as I'm excited about even those things that I love to do, like speaking to you today. But I use that fear as fuel to jet propel me into a whole nother level. I invite you to do the same. Now, number 2, let's exercise the power of choice. You know, so often we rely on the words of other people to determine our destiny. You see, we listen to what people say about us, about our journey, our future, our capabilities. Now, these stories that people try to tell you about you, they may have started in your childhood. It may have been your parents. It may have been a teacher, a counselor, some friends, some strangers even. But isn't it amazing how we are willing sometimes to give strangers, people who mean nothing to our lives and who mean nothing for our lives, to plant lies in our heads about us? But I invite you today to tune off, turn off all the noise. Now, have you ever wanted to do something, but someone told you that it's a crazy idea, that you're not good enough to do this or to do that? Who told you you should speak? Who told you you should write books? Who told you you should lead? Who told you you can be a manager? Who told you you could sing? We've heard it all. Who's going to listen to you, they said. Now, what if you decided, instead of listening to them, to listen to what God says about you, or the people who see the God in you and can help you express yourself and express your fullest potential? Why would you listen to any voice that says you cannot, or that says you don't deserve, that disputes the truth about you? How many of you know about Lisa Nichols, celebrated transformational speaker who has inspired millions through her seminars and her role as a featured teacher in The Secret? Well, did you know that she was told by an English teacher who failed her she was the weakest writer he'd ever met? Her speech teacher gave her a D- and recommended that she get a desk job. Oh, and that she should never speak in public. Now, you did hear me say Lisa Nichols, right? Have you ever heard Lisa speak? Well, this is how that story goes. Lisa Nichols is a #1 best-selling author of more than 7 books, and she transforms millions of lives with her speak and write programs, mine included. So say it with me now. How you like me now? See, when people tell you about you, you have an opportunity to dispute them. You don't have to drink in that Kool-Aid that they're trying to sell you that says that you are not enough, that you are not good enough, that you will never. I want to tell you another story. You know Oprah. Now, y'all know Oprah. Well, did you know that she was fired from her first job as a news anchor in Baltimore because they said she was too emotionally invested in her stories? Well, we all know how that story ends. You see, Oprah took that feedback and that compassion and empathy that they found so distasteful, and she used it to catapult her into her queendom, where she built the #1 talk show for years, inspired others to do the same, and then funded her own network and called it just that, OWN, the Oprah Winfrey Network. See, God already knew, so that's why she was named Oprah Winfrey, so that she could someday create the OWN network. You see, God knows way before we know. See, what God has for you, no one can keep you from it or keep it from you, except maybe you and your mind and your thoughts and your ears, if you listen to those who say you cannot, and you do not listen to the small, still voice that lives inside you and that comes from Him. So now, you may not know me yet, but let me tell you my story. I am what we might call a serial entrepreneur, but there have been times that I've tried to work for other companies. I was working for a company that was engaged in some unsavory practices. But when I went to tell someone and ask some questions, oh, my contract was not renewed. I was working for yet another major company, and some more unsavory doings were going down. And I spoke up, and I became no longer necessary to that corporation. Even before that, I worked at countless jobs where I was not able to feel connected, had no investment, and could not focus on their purpose. Now, some of that was ADHD. I now call that my superpower. And the other half of that was misplacement. See, God made me an entrepreneur. He knew when he knit me in Mama Jean's womb as a result of Papa James's seed planting that I was not built to work for others. Both of my parents had the entrepreneurial spirit, and they gave it to me from the very beginning. You see, it is my birthright to do me. I quit jobs. Once I quit a job, paying me good money. And when I did, my father said, baby girl, you can't quit that job. That's a good job. And you know what I said? Why not, Poppy? You did. Oh, be careful what you tell your children because they listen. So you see, when I was fired yet again from my last job as a therapist, I made a decision, a choice, ladies and gents. Yes, I exercised my choice. I chose to leave that company, go to Las Vegas for 1 week on vacation with my husband. And when I returned on August 5th, I chose to study for my licensing exam. And I mean, I studied hard. Every single morning by 9 a.m., I was at the Starbucks at my table with my computer, my coaching materials, and y'all, I put in the work. I ate, drank, and slept theories, therapeutic modalities, law, and ethics. I studied until I could spit therapy speak in my sleep. And on August 30th, 2017, 25 days later, I walked into that testing center, both prepared and scared. And I walked out 4 hours later, a licensed marriage and family therapist. Now, I know some of you are thinking, well, I'm too old to go back to school to become a therapist or a business administrator or an architect or whatever you wanted to do in your youth or whatever you've decided in your growth that you want to do. Maybe it's not for you to go back to school, and that's okay. Because grandma said there's more than one way to skin a cat. But miss me with that I'm too old excuse. Because you see, I was 50 years old when I started my master's degree. And now I'm 60 years old, 61 in 1 month. And I am 1 year in on working on my doctorate degree. So you just need to make a choice. You see, anything is possible because possible is a choice. Now, let's chat a little bit about how to turn up the volume on the power of possible. Now, when y'all are listening to the radio or your phone, whatever your boombox is, when you're listening to that and your jam comes on, that thing that makes you move like that and do the snake, I'm dating myself. You turn up the volume so you can hear it, so you can say the words back as it plays. So let me ask you this. What do you do in your spare time? Are you propped up in front of the smart TV with your smart snacks and your smartphone just to reach away? Oh, no, please don't misunderstand. I'm not that speaker that's going to tell you that if you watch Netflix, you're going to disintegrate into a pile of snacks and electronic devices, never to be seen again in circles of success. No, I'm not that girl. I love me some Netflix. But what I am saying now is when you should be doing something that moves you closer to your dream. For instance, if I am watching Netflix, binge watching All American or whatever your favorite show is, if I'm doing that when I should be doing my doctoral homework or when I should be doing the assignments that my coach gave me, oh, then that's when it's a problem. You see, when you are doing something that moves you closer to your dream, you're turning up the volume. Yes. So if you have not completed what your coach assigned you before your next session, if you have not had your quiet time yet, now let me explain. The quiet time is that time that you spend getting your head right, getting your heart right, and your spirit on tight. See, you need to keep this in check in order to move forward with power. You can do all the studying and make all the connections and discovery calls and deliver all the speeches, write all the books. But if this mind, body, spirit thing is not on point, you will fizzle out before your light ever reaches its highest wattage. To turn up the volume on the power of possible, you've got to put in the work. Now, you remember, I told you I was at Starbucks every day when it opened at 9 until 10. I didn't mention that. I was there till 10 p.m. when it closed. And I only listened to those voices that empowered me. And sometimes you have to learn how to sift the information that's given to you, because you might hear from someone something that really, really lifts your spirit and that you can align with. And then the next thing they say might be something that you're like, oh, no, that's not for me. But again, grandma said you don't throw the baby out with the bath water. So you take what serves you and you leave the rest. You know, we've always been told to eat everything that's on our plate, right? But I'm allergic to shellfish. So if I eat the shellfish just because it's on my plate, it's not going to serve me. That's going to kill me. You get where I'm going with that, right? So how about you surround yourself with the people that can see your vision, that believe in your vision, and that are a pusher for your vision. Those are the individuals that you allow, you heard what I said, that you allow in your life to even know your dream. See, you should not share your dream with everybody. Everybody hasn't earned the right to know your deepest thoughts, to know the secrets of what you plan to do for your life. There are those who deserve that, but everyone doesn't. So again, only those individuals that you allow in your life who have earned the power, the right to know about your dream. You see, they're the ones that praise your efforts, that hold you accountable, that do not shame you when you don't want to hang out because you're working toward your dream. Those like-minded individuals who love you enough to tell you the truth, who love you enough to want to see you move past where you are and soar into who God built you to be. I'm talking about your tribe. If you don't have a tribe that believes that possible is a real thing, that possible is in your future, and that it's your birthright, that possible is a choice, then you might want to run, not walk, to find that tribe with whom you can grow. Those are the people who are reaching for the stars, just as you are. Those are the people that if you stumble and fall, they'll reach out to catch you. Those are the people that build you up when you're feeling low. You deserve that. That too is part of your birthright, because you are a son or a daughter of the Most High? I want you to take that in. You are a son or a daughter of the Most High. Jeremiah 29:11 says that our God has plans to prosper us and not to harm us, to give us a hope and a future. So why would you surround yourself with people who want less for you than what God wants for you, for what God calls you to? So you see, turning up the volume is all about growth. Growth is all about life. And life is about living loved. Living life to the fullest, on full tilt boogie, moving with your hand in God's hand and serving others by reaching your hand out to them to share what you have learned along the journey. You see, success is a gift, but it's a gift that was given to you. And there are many gifts that were given to you that you were born to use. If you don't use your gifts, you may lose your gifts. And so anything is possible because those gifts that you have did not come from you. They came from your Heavenly Father. And you are born to walk in those gifts, not to bury them. You all know the story. What happened in the parable of the talents? God was not pleased with the man who he gave the talents to, who buried it. No, not at all, because you were given those talents to multiply. Now, a lot of times we think that we have these talents and that it's sinful to want to be successful. God set you up for success. That's why you have those talents. Now, you're not supposed to take those talents and go make a ton of money and then think only about yourself. No, this is about each one teaching one. You're supposed to take the talents that you have because they come from the power of your possibility and share that message and bring others along behind you. You are to be in service. So again, you get to share what you have learned along the journey. That's also your birthright. So amazing men and awesome women, it is time, it is your time. It is time to believe in the possibility of your making the choice, making that choice to turn your possibility into your purpose. So let's repeat today's objectives together. We must turn your fear into your superpower. We must exercise the power of choice and turn up the volume on the power of possible. It's your girl, ShawnLaRe. And if you need some additional tools to turn up the volume on your power of possible, please reach out to me at www.livinglovedcoaching.com. That's livinglovedcoaching.com. livinglovedcoaching.com. And follow me on social media for more tips on how to live your life on full tilt boogie, how to rock your possible. Follow me on Instagram at Living Loved Healing, on Facebook at Living Loved Healing, and at ShawnLaRe Brinkley. And email me at ShawnLaRe@livinglovedcoaching.com. Come on, y'all. Let's do this because it is possible and you are a comeback champion. Live loved, y'all. It's your girl, ShawnLaRe, and I'm out.